Artio, how you going? We're looking at the Ask Reddit, one of the most popular, well, if not the most popular subreddit on the whole site. But we're looking at the Australian edition. Ask Reddit about Australia. Here we go. Non-Australians, what shocks you the most about Australia? The size of the place. When I flew there, a movie finished, I checked the flight tracker map thing. Saw we were just about approaching Australia. I thought to myself, not long until we land. I won't watch another film. I could have watched another 2 films as there was over 5 hours left on the flight. Yeah, seeing this so much, when I go to Australia, I would expect this at this point. Plus, I'm used to it. It is similar size to here in the U.S. But if you're not from the U.S., and you're flying to Australia from, lots of other places, yeah, it's going to be hella big. And people have no idea. Yep, we recently flew from Sydney to Perth, and it was 5 hours. That's the same as London to Eastern Turkey. Holy crap. Kangaroos, angry 2-legged deer. 3-legged deer. Yeah. Well, they use their tail as a leg, so that's kind of true. They do look like deer. Up like in the head, right? It's kind of funny. They are sort of like a different evolution of a deer. I know they're literally not, but you know what I mean? Like it's kind of funny. They're common. They jump in the road like deer. So it's kind of like we have deer, you guys have kangaroos. Yeah, I can see that. Something is wrong with the way you market TimTams. Arnott should be bigger than Amazon. That is an awesome comment. Yeah, Arnott's, it's not just TimTams, right? Arnott's makes so many products. So many. It almost blows my mind. All good. I'm not kidding around here. They're all freaking good. TimTams are obviously the OG, as in like the best snack ever. Yeah, TimTams probably, I guess you could say, are the face of the brand, arguably, for general consensus of great taste. But yeah, I'm honestly surprised. I have, before, I guess this channel, I had never heard of TimTams, and I'm just kind of shocked, right? And honestly, with the love of, snacks, like basically anywhere in the world, cookies and biscuits and sweet snacks are definitely popular here in the U.S. I'm just surprised that TimTams don't have a presence here, basically, right? They definitely should. It got bought out by Americans. Yeah, that's true. No, how could this be? Most iconic Australian brands are foreknown these days. Yeah, that seems to happen just a lot with a lot of things, honestly. Maybe it is American-owned, the whole TimTam deal. Maybe it's a little bit of a mild conspiracy, a TimTam conspiracy. Ready? So everyone knows they're so good. Everyone at TimTams knows they're so good. And whoever's on the American side of the company that owns TimTams or Arnott's or whatever also, I would hope, knows that they're amazing because they've probably tried them and they're like, oh, dang. So maybe they don't want them taking over the U.S. because let's get real. If everyone knew how good TimTams were and did the TimTam Slam and all these things like I've gotten to experience, very lucky as an American to experience these because, we don't have access to these like you do in Australia. People would probably be buying them left and right. And they might forget about Chips Ahoy. They might forget about Oreo. Whoever else, right? Maybe they don't want that. Maybe they don't want them taking so much market share from a lot of the, quote unquote American cookies, American snacks, right? I don't know. Maybe. What do you think? Ooh, this is a good one. And I got to explore this more. How amazing your wine is. Yeah, I'm starting to see that add up now, like comments like this here and there on a couple articles I've read, forums, all these different things. Yeah, people do rave about Australian wine, and I don't know if a lot of the world knows it, right? I think it's a little bit, or maybe a lot of it, underrated. Like, it's really good, but people just don't realize it. Here's an interesting one. How much Aussies drink alcohol and swear way more than us Americans? Living down under the past 6 years now has been eye-opening. Ooh, okay. I think I got to agree with that one. I feel like alcohol culture is pretty big in the U.S. So when I keep hearing some countries in Europe, heavily drink, right, socially, and of course Australia heavily drink socially, I just can't even imagine. I probably would not be able to keep up. And then the swearing thing, yeah, that's pretty unique because, I don't know, swear culture is like hard to define in the U.S., I guess, because I feel like it's definitely a thing, but it's only like certain people swear, certain people don't. Generally you wouldn't want to swear too much in like a number of public settings. Oh, may I mention though, I think the way Aussies swear, I always get a laugh out of. I think they're a little more clever with it, so maybe it works better for them. Whereas swearing, sometimes some people aren't good at swearing, if that makes sense. At least here in the U.S., right? And it can be just seen as kind of lame, like you're trying to jazz up your sentence too much. Like, yeah, I think it's the way Aussies do it. It just works better. Yeah, this is one of the obvious ones I expected to see this year. The fact that almost the entire population lives near the coast. The center is enormous and deadly. I don't know why, but it blows my mind seeing those pics of signs saying stuff along the lines of next gas station is far AF. If you're not prepared, you're going to die. Yeah, it is fascinating. I'm always fascinated by it as well. It is just crazy how big it is. And then on top of how big the place is, it feels even bigger because once you leave the coast, these coastal cities and things, you might go through a few small towns for a while, and then you're just going to hit the Outback and be like, whoa, truly in the middle of nowhere. Like literally the thought, as someone who likes driving and someone who really likes road tripping, I still think the thought of, say, leaving Perth and driving straight like into the Outback, into the middle of the country, that would just be frightening, honestly. It actually freaks me out, the thought of it. This one is a good one to point out as a good reminder because I never knew this and I still have to remind myself of this. This one says, European living in Victoria. I still can't believe how cold winter gets and how badly insulated houses are. So, of course, this doesn't go for all of Australia, but definitely Victoria is pretty down south, right? Like way down south there. And yeah, you guys said it gets pretty cold, especially in winter, maybe even fall. I'm not sure. This person adds, that's the great Australian myth that the weather is always hot. And it means that houses aren't designed for the cold weather. Even Brisbane gets quite nippy in midwinter. Really? That's shocking to me because they're way up in Queensland. Our ducted heating packed in last winter, and we spent a fortune keeping oil heaters running. Yeah, someone else adds Brizzy only gets like 5 days of cold a year. Yeah, see, I'm more with that. I don't think Brisbane's cold. I think that's kind of ridiculous. I mean, then again, I'm not there, but just being someone who, a weather enthusiast, I guess you could say, like, looking at different maps and stuff, tons over the last couple years. I don't think Brisbane, I don't see them as being super cold. I just don't get that vibe. But I can totally see Victoria getting cold because it's way down there, way further away from that tropic line, right? Than, of course, Brisbane is. But yeah, the whole insulated houses issue, that is pretty interesting. It is odd that they're not more insulated. And that could be pretty freaky if you're in a cold front and the house isn't like keeping warm. Yeah, that could be a problem. Is this true? As an Australian, the thing that gets me is that the city of Melbourne was almost called Batmania? What the hell? Now all that's left of that dream is Batman Avenue? Never knew this little nugget. Batmania, though, that would have been the most mental name for anywhere on Earth. I'll have to look into this further. Hey, there's a town in the snowy Monaro region called Frying Pan. I love my country. Yeah, anyone want to comment on Batmania? Why would it be called that? Obviously, it didn't end up being that, but that sounds pretty weird. Someone asked, what's the most untrue stereotype of Australia? For the people, one of the most untrue is that we are always angry. Really? I've never heard that one. If you come to Australia, you'll find that most of us are extremely laid back and chill, and for the country, not everything wants to kill you. Australia has some of the most incredible wildlife that won't hurt you. That being said, don't go picking up snakes or chasing cassowaries. Yeah, I'd say that's sound advice. Never heard the angry one. I suppose there's angry people and sour people like everywhere in every country. Anyone who thinks that's not true is crazy. I'd say generally, I've always heard and definitely every Aussie I've ever interacted with is definitely laid back, chill, really cool, really nice. Someone even adds, here in the U.S., I always got the impression that you were more casual. Yeah, that's what I've always heard. Our U.S., I guess, projected stereotype on the Australians is, I've always heard they're super laid back. Have you been to the Outback? What's it like? Really empty. Like overtake 17 military vehicles before you venture back to your side of the road empty. Oh my God. Hot, dusty red, a bit like flatter Nevada with different plant and wildlife, lots of big rigs, military, lots more long, empty stretches of roads. The night sky is amazing. Oh, I'm sure the sky is unbeatable. Literally. I can't imagine that night sky in the middle of the Outback. But yeah, I imagine the only traffic for the most part would, yeah, maybe like random military vehicles and like road trains. That I feel like that's all you'd see. Maybe like one or two civilian cars a day, maybe if you're driving all day. Like, I don't know. I feel like it's really empty. Why is the Sydney Opera House so famous? You guys like opera? It just looks neat. As far as I know, it's kind of shitty acoustically. Okay, well, let me know if you agree with that or not. I wouldn't know. I assume it's so famous because lots of, just very well built and very artsy structures, buildings are famous just because they're unique and they're cool, right? That opera house, I don't know the whole history on it, right? But of course, I know that it's very unique and it's very iconic. It's become iconic. A sign of Sydney, even a sign of Australia. Like people think of that if they think of Australia, I think. So I imagine just like the spectacular, construction of it, the way it looks, and the setting it's in, all plays a part in why it's so famous. I imagine. If there's anything else why you think it's famous, let me know. This is a good one. This is a good question for the Aussies. What's it like watching Christmas movies with snow in them for you? Do you watch them during your holidays too, even though they have such a different vibe? Yeah, because look, Australia is hot during Christmas, of course, Southern Hemisphere. It's not snowy and freezing cold out. That's just not what happens. So I imagine it would be pretty weird for Aussies, right? For instance, I love Home Alone. I get a bit jealous of the snow and the general vibe. It's just not something we can really get here. Though we do get massive Christmas trees and towns decorating for the holiday spirit, really the main thing we don't get is the cold and snow. And I honestly think that looks nice, but probably isn't very fun. You got it. When it's a fresh snowfall, when you wake up and you see that it's snowing and all the trees are covered in it, it looks pretty cool. It looks pretty epic, actually. But then it gets old, right? After it's done snowing, you're left with like the stuff kind of falls off, all the trees and objects, and it's just left on your car, which is annoying to clean off. And it's left, all over the ground and the grass and whatever. So it kind of gets old after a quick while. And of course, I'm someone who hates the cold. And if it's snowing, that means it's cold. So, yeah, the cold can get old really quick. Not many snowmen, though. Yeah. Snowmen, unless they're made out of plastic or something. Yeah, I don't think you're going to see snowmen in Australia. Non-Aussies of Reddit. When you visited Australia, what was the most unexpected thing you saw there? Yay, I'm in Australia. Let's get drunk. Time to get a bottle of vodka. Checks price. Oh, never mind. That's when I began my relationship with Goon. Yeah, I've gotten some catalogs, some ads and such from Mailtime and some like liquor stores or just stores that sell alcohol from, of course, Australia, right? And yeah, the prices are usually pretty damn steep for a lot of alcohol. Way more expensive than my experience here. But then you have Goon, right? So you want a cheap buzz? You get Goon. I remember getting off the plane and just noticing that the colors were all different. Felt like the sun was brighter and the sky bluer. Might have been because we left Germany in winter and arrived in summer. Yeah, that's probably part of it. But I can imagine the sky being just huge in Australia, right? The horizons being way out, big blue skies, and I think we kind of know the sun is stronger in Australia by now. The silvery green of the eucalyptus trees is a color we don't get here. Also, free barbecue stations everywhere. That was cool. Yeah, what does he mean by that? They're seemingly everywhere parks. Oh, yeah. I think I know what he's talking about. Yeah, these. Actually, wow, that is nicer than I was picturing. We have free barbecue, like, where you can grill at a lot of parks here in the U.S., but they don't look like that. At least the ones I've seen. That's hella nice. Damn. Yeah, that is really cool that they have that. You can take your food there and prepare it, grill it right there at a nice station. Like that is hella cool. Yeah, someone adds, I can't speak for the whole country, but where I'm from in the U.S., parks typically have charcoal grills set up. Yeah, that's what I've seen. Exactly. And they're cool too. But they're not as big and fancy as that was. I mean, that is really cool, the one I saw in that picture from Australia. Someone even adds the animals are different colors. I spent a whole Saturday afternoon walking around a park looking at black swans and black and white crows of some sort, maybe magpies, admiring their feathers. Wow, yeah, I mean, I can't speak for that. I haven't seen them in person. I imagine a lot of the birds and just wildlife looks beautiful in Australia. Instead of raccoons, you have possums. In Melbourne, coffee is a religion. Yeah, that is definitely something I've learned. I still would like to go there and try out some different local coffees because, I mean, I hear it's the best. I want to see what makes it the best. DriveThru alcohol shop. Now, that one is cool. That is something we definitely don't have in the U.S. as far as I know. I've never, ever seen one. Although I have gotten to experience that, and that was because I went to Canada one time, and they did have DriveThru liquor store there. And so I got to use one of those. And finally, this one I remember learning about very early on, and I was like, what? Like, how is this a thing? The noise that the pedestrian crossings make. I think it's really funny. You mean the balk noise? That's for blind people here. Yeah, that noise. Yeah. Yeah, definitely different than here. All right, well, that's going to do it for this one. Just kind of a quick Ask Reddit episode. I thought this would be really fun, and I do hope you enjoyed it. These are always interesting. More, different themed versions of those, of course, in the near future. And I hope you had an excellent weekend, of course. This week, I have some really cool Australian and, of course, other videos, just tons of videos coming, like always, back on the grind this week. But I do have a couple cool Australian videos coming. We have of course, mail time should be coming near the end of the week. A try video or two should be pretty cool. And then a couple videos that I'm doing there should be really interesting on Australian topics and cities. So, yeah, look for that coming up. Please throw a like on there if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to be part of this amazing community. My name is Ian. You're watching IWrocker, y'all. And until next time, catch you later.